So I'm gonna get into some of my favorite TV shows of 2024. Still doing best of lists kind of there. This is probably the last one I'll do, and then I'll move on to yeah, basically starting it all over again. Yeah, starting a list there for best movies of 2025 to start the whole process over again. But for right now, yeah, I didn't see a lot of shows in 2024. That's why it's only six. At least shows I really loved and really enjoyed. So yeah, 6 lists. So this will be pretty short. So, number 6 on my list for my favorite shows of 2024 is going to be the Donald Glover show, Mr. and Mrs. Smith. So this was a show starring Donald Glover, and the actress. Let me see. I pull up her name because I just blanked on it for a second. But if people say this is the TV version there of the film Mr. and Mrs. Smith, and this came on Amazon Prime, and Maya Erskine is the one who plays Jane Smith. So it's about a couple there that are spies. In the film version, it was kind of portrayed that they got married and they didn't know that either one was a spy. Here, it's portrayed as both know each other as spies because the whole John and Jane Smith kind of cover story is for people who get into it and work together to accomplish missions. So it's a little bit of a different spin than what we saw in the movie. And people wondering there, and we did a review of the 2005 film, Mr. and Mrs. Smith with Brad Pitt and Angelina Jolie. But that movie was sexy. I mean, it was hot. I mean, you had Angelina Jolie and Brad Pitt, who were two of the sexiest people at the time in Hollywood, and of what kind of that movie represented it. But here in the film, I mean, you also got really gorgeous people in this as well. I mean, Maya Erskine, Donald Glover there as this couple, and it does in a way of Donald Glover with his kind of writing there, as well as some other great writers that also appeared on the show as well. But yeah, Francesca Salone, who also created this with Donald Glover, but yeah, the writing in here, about detailing, about the stages of a relationship, and that's kind of what the show is about, about like the different stages and stuff you have in a relationship and the ups and downs of it. There's that kind of initial honeymoon phase, then there's that kind of rough patch there. Eventually, you seek out. Even there's a moment where Donald Glover seeks out like other partners there at a moment. And yeah, I mean, if you've ever seen kind of what Donald Glover does with like his stuff with Atlanta, very funny stuff. I mean, very funny, darkly humorous, and it's really great to watch. It's only an 8 episode series. There, you got also really great guest characters that come in here. Like Paul Dano has a good spot in this. John Turturro has a great spot in this. Like different people who they meet, along their missions. Like Ron Perlman. Uh, Also do a really great job here. So yeah, I mean, this was a lot of fun. This was a great time there. Loved watching this. This was yeah, also a great time reviewing it as well. I loved talking about Mr. and Mrs. Smith, and it is coming back for a season two. It is coming back for that, and it seems like they're gonna treat it as like an anthology where each season is going to be a different set of John and Jane Smith. So you won't have Donald Glover and Maya Erskine returning as John and Jane Smith, because the first season, if I don't want to spoil too much in case you haven't seen it, does end on a kind of cliffhanger. It does end on a cliffhanger. So I don't want to spoil it in case you have not seen of what happens there. But yeah, so it seems like they're going to do an anthology type series where every season maybe they're going to have a new John and Jane Smith. So that's interesting, and I'm interested to see who they do cast as the new John and Jane Smith. But yeah, this was really funny, really smartly written. The commentary of what it had to say about marriages, and about relationships, I thought was really good, and I enjoyed that quite a bit. All right. So my number fifth favorite show of 2024 is going to be for X-Men 97. So X-Men 97. Yeah, this was when they announced this, people were hyped because it's like, hey, this show is going to come back. It's going to be a continuation of the X-Men, the animated series from the 90s, which was hugely popular. and to see what they kind of do with it. And that announcement, people were kind of nervous about it because like, oh, is Disney going to mess it up? What are they going to do with this? And watching it, it was like, man, each episode was better than the next. I mean, this had some really banger episodes. Remember Me is the Gambit episode, that where they do the genocide in Genosha. That was really devastating. But yeah, this show felt like it really understood the X-Men and really, got it. I know he's in a lot of hot water right now. Bo DeMayo, he was kind of one of the head writers on this. And it seems like he really got the X-Men thing. Now we'll see what happens in the second season. This did get renewed for a second season to see what happens if they can continue the success there and they can still build upon this great reboot season that they had. But yeah, this was like, man, I even think this is kind of better than the original show, I think, in terms of did that. And Cyclops, I mean, it made people fall in love with Cyclops in this. And another thing about this X-Men 97 show is that it really focused on the team aspect. Like this is a team. You see a lot in the X-Men kind of series, in the movies that it's basically just the Wolverine movies. It's not really a team kind of aspect there to it. And I think here in the show with X-Men 97, they really get ample time to a lot of different people in. They give ample time to Wolverine, to Cyclops, to Storm, to Gambit, to Rogue. In this series, you see that, in this reboot season, that you see Magneto has taken over as the leader of the X-Men, taking over to, basically continue Charles Xavier's vision because in this, people think he's dead. Obviously, you see in the trailer he's not dead. But yeah, I mean, I absolutely really love this season. Can't wait to see what they do with the season two, and hopefully continue the same success and great writing that we saw in season one. Um, all right, so moving on to another comic book property show is The Penguin. The Penguin is a continuation. It's a spinoff from Matt Reeves' The Batman, the Robert Pattinson Batman film. And you saw where Colin Farrell popped up in that as Oswald Cobb, the Penguin. Hey, how's it going there, Sage? What's going on, Sage from Radiant from Maturity there? This was a show that actually, funny enough, you come in at the right time. We actually reviewed this very recently, me and Sage there this season one did a spoiler review for that if people want to check it out. And actually we did reviews, yeah, for all the shows I'm about to talk about on this. But yeah, in particular, I did review this with Sage from Rated M for Immaturity. So yeah, so this show, you have Colin Farrell, who is Oswald Cobb. They're unrecognizable, hidden under all this prosthetics, makeup, changed his voice with this accent as well. You definitely wouldn't know it was him. And he does a fantastic job in this. And this is a really great series. And this series has been renewed for season two. So they're going to do that there. It's one of those type of shows that, yes, it is connected to the Batman universe here, but they barely, if ever, reference Batman in the show. They more reference the events of what happened with the Riddler did in the Batman film and the kind of explosions that he kind of created all around the city. But the thing about this is that it treats Penguin as a villain. He is a villain in this. They don't try to do the Sony Spider-Man universe thing of like, oh, these villains like Craven or Morbius or Venom. It's like, well, they're actually kind of anti-heroes, and they're actually kind of just, well, not even anti-heroes. It's kind of straight up heroes, really. And kind of their actions. Here it's like, no, Colin Farrell is a bad guy. He does bad things, and I kind of love that how they maintained he was just this bad person all the way through the show. And, in yeah, I kinda really loved that and enjoyed that, and there's very few even redeemable things about him as a person. Um, and it says, "No Craven the animal, lover" here, yeah. I mean, and even times you think that, he might be someone redeemable, you go like, "Nah, he's a complete piece of shit, all the way through." So I absolutely love that and love kinda where the show went and this kind of all about this power grab there, this vacuum has been left for who's going to basically take the top spot now that Carmine Falcone is dead. And yeah, I really loved watching this. And then also Christine Milioti, who comes in as Sophia Falcone. Really great job by her. She also does a fantastic job of showing up in this as well as an antagonist to the Penguin, which I thought was really good. But yeah, I mean, you had a great cast here. You had really great writing here. And, there's talks of maybe they're gonna do another type of spin-off show, maybe about Catwoman, like, with the Zoe Kravitz Catwoman. I mean, I feel like this isn't the same as, like, when Marvel does this stuff because it feels like they have more of a plan and they feel like, "Okay, we're not gonna just do it to service the streaming service that it's on, like Max. We're gonna do it more to because we actually have a story to tell," which I think is somewhat of the difference between maybe what DC does it and when Marvel does it as far as right now. But yeah, this was a great series. I enjoyed it a lot. It's on Max right now. 8-episode series. You don't have to be a fan of comic book stuff to like this. You don't have to be into Batman to like this. If you just want to see a good crime show, I think that this works on that level, and you don't have to have knowledge of the Penguin as a comic book character. Radiant from Trudy said Matt Reeves has said they're talking about season 2, but for this, but they're trying to figure out if they actually have a good idea or not. Yeah. So yeah, I think that's the difference, right? The difference is that they wanna have a good story first. They wanna pin it out, they wanna write it first. I know people are talking about and complaining that the Batman it's like, "Why is it taking so this long for them to do a Batman 2?" It's like, well, they got a time to write the script, to get the story down, make sure it's good. They just don't wanna rush out a sequel before they're ready to do it. So I like that. Yeah, do I wanna see another Batman film? Sure, I do wanna see it, right? But if it takes till 2026, 2027, if they have a good idea, great. Let's wait till they have a good idea till they actually write the script first, and work on that before you just start filming something and have to do a bunch of reshoots, right? So, yeah. So, The Penguin is my fourth pick for best show of 2024. And another show that is something that me and Sage also, for Randy Immaturity, there we also talked about and reviewed. And this was my first time watching the show just this last year, and that is the show Arcane. So this is my third pick of one of my favorite shows of 2024. Now, season 2 came out. This is the final season of the show. We reviewed that. And yeah. So I finally, I'd say, I mean, a lot of people have talked about the show how great it was. I finally gave it a shot, watched it, and I understand why so many people love this show so much. In the story it was telling, these great cast of characters, this world that it was able to craft here, Arcane, which is based on the video game League of Legends. People were like, "Hey, this show is so good, it makes me want to play League of Legends." But then they actually play League of Legends and go like, "Oh, this game kind of sucks. Maybe I don't want to. Maybe this game ain't for me. Maybe I'm just gonna stick to actually watching the show." And they have some other shows coming, I think, within the universe of League of Legends that's gonna be coming up. But yeah, this story of talking about kind of this class divide between these 2 groups of people, I thought that was really great. These tragic type of characters like Jinx as well, that was also very great, in this. But, yeah, um, really fantastic. And I think, Radiant from Trudy said, "The best sales pitch for the show is 'Don't worry, it's nothing like the game.'" Yeah. So I've never played League of Legends. I have vague knowledge of League of Legends. I'm not gonna be like Elon Musk and said, like, "I'm the top level League of Legends player ever. I'm number 10 in League of Legends in the whole world." Like, I have vague knowledge of the game. I don't play the game at all, but I've seen people play it there, and this doesn't look like for me. But yeah, I mean, great animation as well within this series that also is very incredibly impressive. Great voice work here. You got Haley Steinfeld in this, who voices another character we all love, Gwen Stacy in the Spider Verse movies. You also have Ella Purnell in this as well. But yeah, I mean, I absolutely love this show. Not only one of the best shows, one of the best animated shows I think of 2024 as well, if not one of the best. That's just for me how great it was. So I can't wait to see what more they do in the kind of League of Legends universe, what more is to bring. Um, 2024's Best Lesbians. Yeah, you also got that as well there, in this. Man, yeah, so I understand. I finally got what a lot of people were loving about this show. I finally got a chance to check it out and review it with Sage from Rated M for Immaturity there. Like I said, review, we basically covered season 1 and 2 of the show. Um in it, and, it's also a show that for its final season, seems like, yeah, a lot of people like the ending, it ends on a pretty high note, which is sometimes rough for a lot of shows to actually have a season finale, a series finale that ends on a great note, so sometimes that can be a little bit hard. Uh, mm, oh, yeah. All right, I'm gonna move on to my number second favorite show of 2024, and that is going to be for the series Baby Reindeer. Um, Much like Arcane, Baby Reindeer is on Netflix, and it was a smash hit for Netflix. They're a show that kind of got a lot of critical praise. A lot of people kind of talked about it. Great word of mouth. And this series is dealing with a real life event that happened to the lead character for the lead actor here. So you have Richard Gadd who plays character there. Um, so this is based off his real life experiences of having a stalker there, a female stalker, in this, who's played by Jessica Gunning, there, who plays Martha. So yeah, so this is based off of his kind of real life, events that happened to him. Obviously, a little bit of exaggerated to match more of a TV kind of thing. But this what this show kind of delves into of kind of male sexual violence there acted upon the male and not the female, something you don't really see that often in most media, right? Most media treats male kind of sexual assault as a joke, male rape as a joke, and you rarely ever see it kind of taken very seriously, because it's just a lot of men just obviously generally stronger, bigger, are not often under the threat of that, as women. But you see his life and you see kinda what goes on in it, especially, in a relationship he has with a mentor figure of his, somebody he thought that he could really trust and, really confide in, and how he's sexually assaulted by by that male mentor figure and doesn't really know how to cope with that and how he's kinda struggling with that. And I thought that was kind of brilliant in the way, that is handled in the show. Again, a topic you don't really see much handled in media. So I thought this show was really great in being that. And Hunter from Real Pineapple said, "LOL, my number second favorite show, damn Ebonics hour over here." And then Radiant from Maturity still got to see this one. My dad loved it though. And you speaking of your dad, this is a great sequence that has with the actor who plays his father in this. That is really good. That is really fantastic in it. Again, touching on emotions of, again, men are taught to kind of bury their emotions and kind of stuff them down, and it kind of leads to a lot of troubles that you see in society, there, because men are basically have to put on this front of being so masculine and trying to be very tough and not be very vulnerable there. So I thought that was also something there that was also really great. That was a really heartbreaking scene in the series. And then the complicated relationship he has with Martha is also very fascinating. I get into a lot of this. Actually, didn't I think Hunter? I think didn't we review this together there? I think we did a review. I think me and Hunter from the Real Pineapple podcast. I think we did a review for it together actually. But yeah, I mean, what he gets into with Martha and these complex feelings that he has of being flattered there, of initially of like, hey, this woman is really interested in me and really finds me all the way attractive and everything like that. Again, doesn't really happen to that many men there. It happens to some men, but I don't think a vast majority of men. You'll have it where women are pursuing you in the way that Martha's pursuing you there. For women, it's kind of like somewhat of a common occurrence, especially online. So it's really nothing out of the ordinary for them to, have that type of attention there in that way. But yeah, you see this kind of different this dynamic in the relationship between him and Martha that's also very fascinating. Um, and as Hunter from the Real Pineapple mentioned, yeah, I mean, this show gets really heavy. I mean, it has its comedic moments in it as well that are also very funny, but also this the dramatic stuff there is very heavy, and I think a show that everybody should be checking out, especially if you are a man, just to have something like this out in the world. But yeah, this was highly praised, critically acclaimed, got tons of award attention. This won 6 primetime Emmy awards here. It won for outstanding limited series or anthology series. It won for outstanding writing, outstanding lead actor, outstanding supporting actress. There, it also won 2 Golden Globes for best limited or anthology series and best supporting actress. So it did really, really well at the awards, and I think well deserved. Baby Reindeer on Netflix right now. People can check it out. if you do have Netflix, and it's about 7 episodes. Um, yeah, we did. Okay, yeah. So it's on YouTube right now if you want to check it out. Hunter gives his thoughts on there. Hunter, very great podcast, very great reviewer, very great critic. He gave his thoughts on Baby Reindeer on the afternoon tune, and then also on his own channel as well, the Real Pineapple. People also can check it out there. Um, Waiter M for Immaturity, I said the other recent thing I've seen treat assault seriously in this way is Chainsaw Man. Okay, that's another great example there as well. Chainsaw Man does that as well, so that's another great recommendation. Yeah, I mean, more media should be out there about these type of topics there for men. I definitely believe that. All right, so I'm gonna go on and move on to my number one show of 2024. Um, and Probably, I mean, it's probably be on the list for a lot of people as their number one, so it's probably gonna be a very, very basic pick. But it is the show Shogun. Shogun. Me and Sage reviewed this, and we both absolutely adored this series. And it is my number one favorite TV show of 2024. I mean, the look of this show is absolutely amazing. The performances in the show are absolutely fantastic. The fact that the show is spoken mostly in Japanese there, and as Sage was telling me, also in an older form of Japanese. So even the characters in this who are Japanese themselves, the actors, actually had to still learn a different form of Japanese to actually still act in this show, and I think that's absolutely amazing. But this show is based on a book there. Um, and I don't know, I've never read the book before. I wonder how much it transcends the book and really, does such a great job of adapting the book. But this show was and what it does with, a lot of people also compare it to something like Game of Thrones in a way, I guess, because of the political intrigue there as well with this. But the ability to, with this kind of, a pending war that's kinda trying to, Hiroko Sanada there, who people might know. He's been in a bunch of things. He was Scorpion in Mortal Kombat again. Sage, he hates that show. He hates that movie, but yeah, he was Mortal Kombat. He was Scorpion in that. But he's a longtime actor. I mean, he's been acting since he was like a little kid. He does a phenomenal job in this there and playing this kind of political game there of all these different figures of trying to vie for power of who's going to end up there on top. And I think that's what makes the series so fantastic as well there. And what they were able to do for a TV show as well on this. I mean, this is like movie quality level look and action you have in this series. So I think that's fantastic. Um, Radiant from Maturity said my in-law said it's extremely faithful to the book. Okay, very nice there. So yeah, and this was a huge award winner. I think this was got had the most nominations for any show there for Emmys there as well. Because so Shogun became the first. I'm reading this from the Wikipedia here. It says in 2024, Shogun became the first Japanese language series to win a primetime Emmy for Outstanding Drama Series, with his first season winning 18 categories at the 76 Primetime Emmy Awards, setting a new record, the most awarded single season of television in Emmy history. Additionally, received 4 Golden Globe Awards, including Best Television Series Drama and Acting for Sonata, Sawai, and Asano. There, Sawai does a fantastic job in this. She's the lead actress in this, and then she's the translator for the character there, for the character who's played by Cosmo Jarvis, John Blackthorne. She's a translator there. And you see what her role is there in the show, and she does a fantastic job, especially towards the last couple episodes. Really, really great. Yeah, I mean, there was no weak link in this cast at all. Really fantastic, a great intrigue all the way through from beginning to end. You just couldn't wait to watch the next episode and where it was kind of going to lead and where it was going to go. I completely understand, as Radiant Infantry said, it deserved every award. It absolutely did for what it was able to do with this. They are doing a season two. I'm kinda skeptical, as great as the season 1, because this like I said, talking with, Radiant from Trudy when we did the review for it, they basically did all the stuff from the book. So, it'd be interesting to see what they do in a season 2 and what kinda how they do it, and what they have to draw from because they basically did everything from the book already. Um, I mean, I hope it's good. Again, I'm a little skeptical about it since they already basically got it from the book already there. Rating for said you're always skeptical. Let them cook. Damn. Yeah, but I mean, I don't know. I mean, again, this is one of the best seasons of television ever. I mean, just award wise of what they were able to do. So it's hard to see how they're going to top that. And you had so many of these great performances and great stories in this first season. Yeah. Um, it's hard to see what they're going to do with that. But hey, I'm open to it. Optimistic there. If they bring back the same creative team, then hey, who knows? Maybe they do that. But man, if you have not seen Shogun, highly recommend checking it out. It is on Hulu, if people have Hulu. If you have Disney Plus, it's also on Disney Plus there, but you have to have Hulu to have Disney Plus, to watch Shogun on Disney Plus because it's there, so you gotta do that, but, yeah, I mean, I haven't talked to anyone who has not liked this series. It is really that great, and if you're wondering, like, "Should I check it out? Should I not?" Yes, you definitely should check it out, and it's not that long of a series, it's only 10 episodes there, a full 10 episodes. um it's not the streaming model where you just have the 7 or 8. You got a good strong full 10 episodes there. Rating Infant Maturity said, I would just hate to see a Westworld happen and have a lot of people look back in 10 years and just think of disappointing later seasons." Very true. That would kind of suck there, but at least you always have this great first season that knocked it out of the park with this. So yeah. So those are my best TV shows of 2024.